Well, China has emerged as the greatest threat to America's dominance, from economics to military power, even in global influence. It's created a delicate dance for American businesses that have mostly maxed out their growth in this country, and they're openly salivating for a piece of China's 1.3 billion population. In their desire, of course, to get a piece of that action, American businesses have embarrassed themselves, and many have sold their souls. Although in this case, they might embrace the notion that corporations are people. This complicated reaction will only become even more fraught with dangerous encounters and some tough decisions. And tough means skipping out on money simply on principle. This week it has been really full of what people are worried about. Too many American investors have had a painful experience because of Wall Street not perhaps doing their job. I'm going to bring in Genevieve Wood from the Heritage Foundation. And Genevieve, there's an opinion piece in the Washington Post that says Wall Street finally waking up to the reality of China. Now, the article assumes that Wall Street will take a different view of China after Goldman and so many others, and particularly in the financial media, cheered the Didi IPO. That's a ride-hailing company in China. It's down about 40%. Shares got crushed. Americans have lost a lot of money. They poured $4.4 billion in there, and a quarter of it is gone in 1 week. I don't believe Wall Street has woken up, and I think the money is too enticing. What's your thoughts?
Well, money does talk and losses talk, but Charles, I fear that you're right. Look, China knew this IPO was coming. They could have put forward their concerns about regulations, but they chose not to do so, which says to me they want to be in the kind of instability business, just like they play around in Hong Kong. They want to make markets unstable. They want to make investors concerned. And look, this is a big concern. I mean, we lost a lot of money here, but you have a hard time, I think, Charles, finding an American business as of late, whether you're talking about the NBA, whether you're talking about Facebook, that's been willing to stand up to the Chinese and say, because of your human rights abuses, because of your corruption, because of your instability and trying to make trouble on the world stage, we're not going to do business with you. Until we have American businesses willing to do that, we're going to continue to see this.
Yeah, I mean, even technology companies that know that their technology is being stolen, and it's a track record that goes back more than a decade. Many of them have said, okay, that's worth the price of admission. You can steal what we've toiled over, what we've worked on. You can apply it to things like military apparatus. We don't care. We want a piece of the action. I'm just so concerned with that ultimately that's going to hurt us badly.
Yeah, I mean, look, Charles, this is another Cold War here that we're talking about. And what we know is that when it comes to fighting wars like this, yes, a country's economy certainly matters. And that's one reason we were able to outlast the Soviet Union. But even more importantly, we were philosophically committed to defeating communism, not the people of the Soviet Union, but the communist regime. Sure. And that's exactly what we have to be committed to in China. So, the Biden administration, I would say, is Reagan administration. And we need to have our businesses start thinking back to previous times and learn from the past and stop ignoring it.
Genevieve, I want to squeeze this in here because it's not just greedy Wall Street bankers. There's a list of 40 or so progressive organizations, including Move On and Code Pink. They've written the Biden administration, a letter. They're calling for an end to what they're calling a dominant antagonistic approach to dealing with China. They're apparently saying it's going to harm the climate. And I guess for them, saving the planet is more important than stopping the suffering of the Muslim minority in China. It's amazing. So even with these progressive organizations, what's moving them? I mean, obviously, could it also be money?
Yeah, well, of course it can be money. And talk about a history lesson, Charles, nobody needs more of a history lesson than many of the people sitting in Congress and leading these leftist organizations who are either one of two things. One, they're either seriously misguided, seriously misinformed about the way you deal with communist regimes, or number two, you actually care more about being politically popular and talking about climate change than actually dealing with the environment and dealing with human rights abuses. These folks don't seem to be truly engaged in that. And look, this is going to take a two-pronged approach. It can't just be the U.S. government taking a tough stand. It can't just be American businesses taking a tough stand. We need to be in this together because it's going to take both to keep the Chinese in check. You heard Jing's speech last week or earlier this week. He's not backing down. He's going to be tough, and he's going to test this administration until they do something about it. We've got to show a united front that we're going to stand up to this for both the businesses but more importantly, for individual humans, both here and in China.
I mean, if it comes to testing this administration, you know, President Biden went to Europe. He looked Vladimir Putin in the face, said no more cyber attacks. And since he's come back, all we've seen are cyber attacks. So we'll see. Genevieve, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, folks.